Imagine this. You've poured everything into someone who once lit up your world, only to watch the connection fade into silence, mixed signals, and that gut-wrenching feeling that you're no longer the priority. The late-night texts stop, the excitement vanishes. You start questioning everything you thought you knew about love and attraction. But here's what almost no one tells you. There's a hidden power in your silence, a force so potent that it can flip the script completely, awakening a storm of regret in the very person who pulled away. This isn't about games or manipulation. It's about understanding the raw, unspoken truths of human psychology, the invisible wires that control desire, value, and emotional pursuit. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover why the moment you choose yourself and step back, something deep inside her mind begins to shift. Memories flood back, doubts creep in. The comfort she took for granted turns into an aching void she can't ignore. We're peeling back the layers of female psychology that most men never see, the primal triggers, the emotional patterns, and the silent forces that make absence louder than any words ever could. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll never look at a breakup or a fading connection the same way again. You'll understand exactly why your silence isn't weakness. It's the ultimate reset button for respect, desire, and sometimes an unexpected return. This knowledge has transformed countless lives, turning pain into power, and right now it's about to change yours. Cliffhanger around the 60-second mark. But what if I told you the real trigger isn't just distance? It's the sudden realization that she might have lost the one person who truly saw her value, and now that person is gone. Let's go deeper. Picture the average relationship dynamic. At the beginning, everything feels electric. Dopamine flows freely. She's curious, attentive, invested. You're the mystery she wants to solve. But as time passes and comfort sets in, something subtle changes. The chase ends. Predictability creeps in. And in that predictability, your perceived value begins to slip in her mind. Not because you changed, but because human psychology craves novelty and uncertainty. This isn't some flaw unique to women. It's how brains are wired across the board. Yet for many men, this shift feels personal, devastating. You try harder. You reach out more. You explain, you plead, you remind her of what you had. And ironically, every attempt pushes her further away. Why? Because pursuit in the face of withdrawal signals scarcity on your end. It tells her subconscious that she still holds all the power, that she can have you whenever she wants, even if she's giving less. Female psychology, especially in romantic bonds, thrives on emotional contrast. When you're always available, always responsive, the emotional spikes flatten. The heart that once raced now beats steady and indifferent. But reverse that dynamic. Remove your energy entirely, and suddenly the contrast hits like lightning. The silence becomes a mirror. She's forced to confront her own feelings without the buffer of your attention. Think about it in everyday terms. Have you ever lost interest in a show because it became too predictable? Or valued something more after it was taken away? That's scarcity principle at work. In relationships, when a man implements a clean cutoff, he activates this principle powerfully. No more breadcrumbs, no angry messages, no just checking in, just pure, intentional absence. This isn't ghosting out of pettiness. It's a deliberate choice to reclaim your peace and let natural psychological processes unfold. And here's where it gets fascinating. Women often don't realize how much they relied on your presence until it disappears. The mind hates uncertainty, but it also craves it. When you were consistent, she felt safe but bored on a subconscious level. When you vanish, safety evaporates and curiosity explodes. Memories of your best moments resurface without the daily annoyances or routines dulling them. She starts wondering, what is he doing? Who is he with? Why doesn't he care anymore? These questions aren't comfortable. They stir anxiety, nostalgia, and a surprising amount of self-reflection. Many women report this exact experience later, admitting that the no-contact period made them replay every interaction, question their choices, and feel a deep, unexpected regret. This isn't universal, of course. Not every connection deserves revival, and not every person grows from absence, but the pattern is real and rooted in evolutionary psychology. Throughout history, humans formed bonds where value was tied to effort and perceived rarity. Modern dating with endless options has amplified this. Social media, dating apps, and constant stimulation make people chase the next high while undervaluing what's steady. Your silence removes you from the noise. It makes her confront the reality that what she let go might have been rare, and rarity triggers regret faster than almost anything else. Let's make this relatable. You're at the gym, focused on your goals. Days turn to weeks without reaching out. Your life moves forward. New habits, new energy, new people noticing the shift in you. Meanwhile, on her end, the void grows. Maybe she scrolls past old photos. Maybe a song reminds her of you. Maybe she hears through mutual friends that you seem different, better, unbothered. That image clashes with the narrative she built in her head, that you'd always be there, waiting. The cognitive dissonance is powerful. Psychology calls this reactance, the urge to reclaim freedom when it feels threatened. But here, your freedom threatens her comfort zone. She realizes the door she left cracked might have closed completely. This is where massive regret begins brewing. Not always loud or immediate. Sometimes it simmers quietly for weeks or months. She might test the waters with a casual text, or she might confide in friends about how she misses the way things were. The key is that your silence forces her internal dialogue. Without your words filling the space, her own thoughts take center stage. She starts comparing. She wonders if she misjudged your worth. Female psychology often involves strong emotional memory tied to feelings of being cherished or understood. When those feelings were real, cutting off doesn't erase them, it highlights them against the emptiness that follows. Now let's talk about the deeper mechanisms. Attachment styles play a huge role. Many women and people generally have anxious or avoidant tendencies shaped by past experiences. In the anxious-leaning dynamic, withdrawal from a secure partner can trigger abandonment fears, even if she initiated distance. The avoidant side might initially feel relief, but prolonged silence often leads to curiosity and reevaluation because the threat of true loss activates bonding instincts. It's not about tricking anyone, it's biology and psychology working as designed. Silence removes the anxious pursuit that repels, allowing authentic emotions to surface. Real stories from people who've lived this are everywhere. One man shared how after months of one-sided effort, he finally went silent. No explanation, just focus on himself. 2 months later, she reached out with a vulnerable message about how she couldn't stop thinking about him and regretted pulling away. Another described his ex circling back after seeing his growth on social media, admitting the space made her realize what she lost. These aren't fairy tales. They're patterns rooted in the fact that humans value what requires effort and what feels elusive. Your no-contact rule creates both, but this power comes with responsibility. The goal isn't revenge or proving a point. It's self-mastery. When you cut off contact, you're choosing your mental health, your growth, and your standards. You stop pouring into a cup with holes, and paradoxically, that choice often raises your value in her eyes more than any grand gesture ever could. You become the man who respects himself enough to walk away. That version of you is magnetic because it signals abundance, not neediness. Women are wired to respond to emotional strength and independence, just as men respond to feminine energy and nurturing. Understanding this balance is key to healthier dynamics overall. As the silence stretches, another layer emerges, her ego. No one likes to feel replaceable or forgotten. When you don't chase, it challenges the assumption that you were lucky to have her. It flips the script. Suddenly, she's the one wondering if she's the one who lost something valuable. This introspection can lead to genuine growth on her part, or at least a clear view of her true feelings. Many times, the regret is accompanied by self-blame or nostalgia for the version of the relationship when effort was mutual. She remembers your support, your humor, the way you made her feel seen. Without daily interactions diluting those memories, they intensify. Curious yet? There's more. Consider the role of social proof and pre-selection. When you're thriving without her, even subtly visible through life changes, it signals to her subconscious that others see your value. Humans are social creatures. We often reassess worth based on how others perceive someone. If she senses you're moving on and attracting positive attention, it can accelerate the regret process. It's not jealousy in a toxic sense, but a natural response to potential loss of a high-value connection. This is why focusing relentlessly on yourself during no contact isn't just good advice, it's strategic psychology. Gym, career, hobbies, social circle, these become your loudest statement. Let's expand on the timeline because understanding the phases helps you stay strong. In the first days or weeks, she might feel relief or even anger. This is resistance. The mind defends against change. Then comes the curiosity phase. Random thoughts about you pop up. She might check your profiles or ask mutual friends indirectly. Next is the nostalgia wave. Memories hit harder. Regret follows when she compares her current feelings to the past. Some women experience this as a slow burn, others as a sudden emotional flood. The silence words, the unsaid things, speak volumes. They echo louder because there's no rebuttal, no explanation, no closure from you. She has to create her own closure, and often that process reveals how much she actually valued the bond. This is psychologically impactful because it forces accountability. In today's world of easy distractions and low-effort communication, true absence is rare. It stands out. It makes her confront patterns she might have ignored, taking you for granted, testing boundaries, or seeking validation elsewhere while keeping you as a safety net. Regret grows in that space. Not every woman will act on it, but the internal shift happens more often than people admit. And for you, the viewer watching this right now, this knowledge is liberating. It means your pain has purpose. The hurt you feel during silence is temporary fuel for transformation. Imagine waking up one day realizing you no longer need validation from someone who devalued your presence. That's the gift. You rebuild stronger, clearer about your worth. And if she returns, it's from a place of genuine desire, not convenience. Many men report that reconnections after proper no contact are different, more respectful, more passionate, because the dynamic has reset. She's tasted life without your energy and found it lacking. That's powerful. But even if she never returns, you win by becoming the man who chooses himself unapologetically. Let's dive into specific triggers within female psychology that amplify this effect. First, the fear of missing out, FOMO. When you're no longer an option, the possibility of what if lingers. Second, emotional investment. The more she once invested, even if unevenly, the harder it is to detach cleanly. Third, the protector/provider instincts that many women still carry subconsciously. Losing someone who made them feel secure can create unease. Fourth, the contrast effect we mentioned earlier. Life feels flatter without the emotional highs you brought. Silence magnifies that flatness. Realistic scenarios people relate to. You were the guy who planned dates, remembered details, supported her dreams. Then communication slowed. You tried fixing it, but it backfired. Cutting off feels scary at first, like you're burning a bridge, but bridges to one-sided effort deserve burning. In the weeks that follow, friends notice you're glowing differently. You laugh more, you achieve more. That glow reaches her radar eventually. The regret isn't always verbalized immediately. Sometimes it shows in late-night messages months later. I've been thinking about us a lot. Or, you were right about needing space. These moments expose the psychology at play. Curiosity keeps building because every layer reveals another truth. What about the ones who seem unaffected? Even then, silence plants seeds. Months or years later, life circumstances change. Other relationships fail. Loneliness hits, and those seeds sprout as regret. The mind revisits unfinished emotional business. Your clean exit becomes the benchmark she measures others against. He never chased. He had self-respect. Why don't others? That comparison is brutal and effective. Motivationally, this is your turning point. Stop seeing no contact as punishment and start seeing it as self-love in action. Every day you maintain it, you're rewiring your own brain away from anxious attachment towards secure confidence. You're building discipline that spills into career, fitness, purpose. Women notice confident, purposeful men. It's not magic, it's psychology meeting action. The massive regret you trigger in her is secondary to the massive growth you trigger in yourself. That's the real win. Expand this further. Think about the neuroscience. Withdrawal from emotional bonds activates similar brain areas as physical pain. When you cut off, she experiences that discomfort. But unlike you reaching out to soothe it, the silence forces her to sit with it. Sitting with discomfort often leads to insight. She might realize her role in the disconnection. Patterns of push-pull, hot and cold behavior lose their power when met with steady absence. This is why experts in relationship dynamics emphasize no contact as one of the most transformative tools, not for control, but for clarity. Relatable pain points. The sleepless nights wondering why she changed. The temptation to send one more text. The social media stalking that only deepens the wound. Choosing silence breaks that cycle. It redirects your energy inward. You start journaling, exercising, connecting with friends who uplift you. Small wins accumulate, confidence returns, and in that process you become unrecognizable to the version of yourself who was stuck. When or if she sees this new version, the regret intensifies because it highlights what she walked away from. Hundreds of thousands have walked this path. Forums, personal accounts, even subtle cultural observations point to the same pattern. Men who master the art of dignified silence often report women circling back with renewed interest. Not because men are playing games, but because authenticity and self-respect are attractive. Female psychology responds to leadership and emotional stability. By removing yourself from chaos, you embody both. Let's address common doubts. What if she never